Hello everyone. So in this second video from today's series, let us find out what solution focused family therapy means and what are some of the techniques that we can use in this form of therapy. So as we know that solution focused family therapy is a form of family therapy that focuses on finding solutions rather than dwelling on problems. It is based on the idea that everyone has the ability to create change and that people are resourceful. So, this type of therapy is centered around building on people's strengths and resources to create solutions. So, here we will explore the concepts and techniques of solution focused family therapy. So, now let's focus on the concepts of solution focused family therapy. So, now here the problem is not the problem. So, this concept focuses on the fact that people have the ability to solve problems, but often they get stuck in a negative cycle of thinking. Instead of focusing on the problem, solution focused family therapy helps individuals and families focus on the solutions. Then the second main important concept is building on strengths and resources. So solution focused family therapy focuses on what is already working in a family's life. The therapist will ask questions about the family's strengths, skills, and resources to help them recognize what they are doing right and how they can use those strengths to create solutions. The next concept is collaboration. So, in SFFT, is a collaborative approach that involves the therapist working with the family to find solutions. So, here the therapist does not have all the answer and instead works with the family to discover solutions together. Then the next one is solution focused language. So this approach or this therapy uses language that is solution focused. The therapist will ask questions that help the family focus on solutions rather than problems. The therapist will also use language that is positive and encourages the family to think positively. The next one that we are going to discuss about the techniques of solution focused family therapy. The first technique that we can use is that scaling questions. So here in scaling questions, it helps an individual and family identify how they are doing and what they need to do to get to where they want to be. So, here, for example, the therapist may ask a family member to rate how they are doing on a scale from 0 to 10. If the family member rates themselves at a 5, the therapist will work what they would need to do to move up to a 6. Then the next technique in SFFT is that miracle question. So here it is a technique used in SFFT to identify or to help individuals and families imagine what their life would be like if the problem was solved. So the therapist will ask a question such as, if a miracle happened overnight and your problem was solved, what would your life look like? So this question help individuals and families identify what they want to achieve and what is important for them. Then the third one is compliments. So here it uses compliments in this therapy to help individuals and families recognize their strengths and resources. Compliments are positive statements that acknowledge what someone is doing well. So here the therapist may say something like, I noticed how well you handled that situation. You were really good at staying calm under pressure. Then the next technique that a therapist can use is that coping questions. So coping questions help individuals and families identify how they have coped with similar situations in the past. For example, the therapist may ask a family member, have you ever been in a similar situation before? How did you handle it? So this helps individuals and families recognize that they have the ability to cope with difficult situations. Then the next thing is solution focused listening solution. So here it focused on listening, which is a very important technique used in SFFT, that involves the therapist actively listening to what the individual or family member is saying. The therapist will focus on what is being said and ask questions that help the individual or family member to further explore their thoughts and feelings. Then the next technique is that exception questions. So here it helps individuals and families to identify when things have gone well in the past. For example, here the therapist may ask a family member, for example, can you think of a time when things were going well in your life? What were you doing differently at that time? So, this helps individuals and families recognize that they have the ability to create positive change. So, these are some of the techniques that we can use in SFFT. Now, let's look into a case example that I'm going to discuss now. So, the case example is all about the Shetty family, consists of a single mother, her two children, and their maternal grandparents. So the mother is struggling to provide for her family and is feeling overwhelmed and stressed. The grandparents are finding it hard to accept their daughter's single mother status. So, in the first session, what we are going to do is that the therapist asks the family about their strengths and resources. They identify that the mother is resourceful and hardworking, and that the children are helpful and caring. So, here the grandparents are good at providing their grandchildren the support and care when their mother is feeling overwhelmed. The therapist also asks scaling questions and miracle questions. They work together to identify, small steps that the family can take to improve their situation. So also the therapist works with the grandparents by helping them recognize the strengths of their daughter and how well she is coping with the divorce. So the therapist also helps the family to identify external resources that can help them, such as community services and support groups, etc. The therapist also encourages the family to focus on their strengths and successes and to use coping strategies when they are feeling overwhelmed. So now, over the course of therapy, the family works together to create a plan to improve their situation. They find ways to save money, reach out to community services and support groups, or and also, by supporting each other.